Shameless. United in the Europa League. Europa League. We tell them one time and we say Europa League. Europa.
Manchester United 0, Real Sociedad 1. United's European adventure this season begins with a defeat in the Europa League at Old Trafford, and we expected changes, we expected rotation, and we did see that. Not as much as I thought, and if anything, good. Good we didn't see as much rotation as I thought, because it's become quite clear in that game that we still have major issues when it comes to squad depth. I think there were several players that came into that Manchester United side that haven't played in a couple of weeks. They haven't been part of the starting 11 in the Premier League. And ultimately, we've seen why. They're just not up to snuff. They don't have the quality. They don't have the ability to do what Erik ten Hag wants them to do in certain facets of the game. And largely, United were just really passive. I think Ten Hag spoke about this before the recent games. He spoke about how, in his programme notes, he said it in interviews where he said, what's the reason behind, what's changed at Manchester United? Why have we started winning games? Why have we had these consecutive victories? And the reason why is because we've been giving 100%. We've been given 100%, we've been trying, we've been determined, we've shown aggression, and we didn't see that today. It was just very, very passive from United. And yeah, we can talk about that decision for the penalty that they get. Obviously, they score a penalty, and it's an absolutely awful decision. It's a shocking decision. Even with VAR, they don't decide to overturn it. Martinez flies in to try and block the ball. It skips up off his thigh and then onto his arm-ish. He gives it a penalty and books him, and VAR did nothing for it. It's an awful decision, but it's not the reason why we lost. We lost because we were passive. We lost because we weren't good enough. We lost because we didn't score any goals. We didn't make many chances. That's why Manchester United lost the game, not because of a poor refereeing decision. We just weren't good enough. And I think it is important to single out certain players that I think underwhelmed. I thought Fred was particularly poor in midfield today. Really, really disappointed with him. I think before, the idea was, or sort of the general narrative was, wasn't it, that Scott McTominay and Fred in the two double pivots in midfield. It's McTominay's rubbish. McTominay's terrible. At least Fred, because we saw it under Ralph Rangnick, at least Fred's a decent player. He's got a bit of technical ability. I don't know how many successful passes he made today, but he was way off it. Way off it. And I thought buying Casemiro was meant to unlock Fred. They both play with each other for Brazil, so they must know what they're doing together. They will look terrible. I look forward to see what they're going to do at the World Cup, if this is an indication. I think Casemiro, look, big price tag, what is it, 60, 70 million pounds? You can't judge him off one performance. He looks, I think people have given him a bit of the benefit of the doubt in these cameo appearances that he's done when he's come on in the Premier League and he's misplaced some passes and we go, he's just a bit rusty. He looked very rusty tonight because, again, he did it again tonight where giving the ball away, yes, he wins the ball back and that's what he's good at doing, and maybe even at this stage in his career, he needs to work on those passes because he just looked a bit off it at points, and that midfield was really toothless. It was so easy to play through, and every single time it looked like we were going to break and we were playing in transition, give the ball away, and it was just too easy. I think that Cristiano Ronaldo up front, whenever you bring up Cristiano Ronaldo, it's a very emotive topic for some, and what I'm about to say does not take away from Cristiano Ronaldo's career. It doesn't take away from all that he's achieved. It doesn't take away from being one of, if not the greatest player ever. His goal scoring record is sensational. Nobody will reach some of the goals that he has scored and the number of goals he has scored. People could talk about Haaland and the great stuff that Haaland's doing at the moment for Man City, but they won't get close to Ronaldo numbers. Nobody will. They're astronomical. But tonight was almost a little bit sad at times because you saw a Cristiano Ronaldo that is just going to be effective in 30-minute cameos. That's how he's most effective now, because after 50, 60 minutes, he was done. He was absolutely done. And maybe that's match fitness. Maybe he's still not ready. He did miss pre-season, but he just looks static. And he did have chances made for him. And at points, we are having to adapt the way we play to facilitate Ronaldo. Instead of working the ball into the box, what are we doing? Crosses into the box. We're aiming to get it for his header. He had a goal ruled out for offside. In another day, he'd have got back in line quicker. It was a good header. That's what he can do. He can still do that, and he can still score goals. But in terms of starting the game, playing the entire 90 minutes, under Erik ten Hag, the way that he wants his strikers to play, I just can't really see it at the moment. And again, that's no slight against Ronaldo, But you look at people like Marcus Rashford and Martial, they better footballers than Cristiano Ronaldo, no. But they offer something that Ronaldo doesn't have at the moment. It's mobility. It's mobility. It's the willingness to, run between the lines that Ronaldo doesn't really do or can't really do at this point. And I think tonight will just serve as a big wake-up call for Erik ten Hag, honestly. I think it will serve as a wake-up call that some of the reasons why he hasn't been picking some of these players is suddenly very justified. And if anything, that starting 11 that has been starting recently, they're even more cemented. I thought Lisandro Martinez, when he came on, irrespective of him giving the penalty away, I thought he was brilliant. I thought he came on, he might have been the best player on the pitch. And that was in defence and in midfield. At some points, he was stepping into midfield and he was excellent, absolutely excellent stepping forward through midfield. If anything, I wish we could have two of him. One at centre-back, one in defence midfield. He's been that good. And I thought he was unfortunate with the penalty. Jadon Sancho came on the other hand. I didn't see him do anything. I think I saw Martinez take on more players than Sancho did. And that's wild to say, but it kind of just summed up Manchester United's night. Of the players that did come on, those first team players, Martinez, Bruno, maybe not Sancho, but those players that have been playing, that have been getting results, they just look a cut above. And maybe not necessarily in terms of quality, I think in the case of Martinez quality, but for people like Bruno, they just wanted it more. They looked like they came from a side that was winning games and entered the side of players that are used at United to losing games. And that's really what it looked like. And some of those players, I think, will struggle now to get an Erik ten Hag starting 11, honestly, in the Premier League. I understand there's going to be a lot of rotation. It's a long season ahead. There's plenty of games. The fixture list is incredibly congested. But I think it does serve as a wake-up call. Now, I still fancy Manchester United to get out of the group. This is our hardest game in the group. But it'll be an eye-opener, certainly for Erik ten Hag. And I think another eye-opener was Christian Eriksen. And I know I've waxed lyrical about Christian Eriksen. This morning I said he was better than Michael Carrick. But when you see his effect on the play in the first half, and he was affecting play through balls, progressive passes, side splitting to passes, or defence splitting passes rather, once he came off, suddenly we looked completely static. Nothing. There's no forward passes involved there. There's nobody that's got the ability to split the defence. Nobody. And you just see how important it is that he stays fit this season. He has to play every game. Not only Premier League games, not only FA Cup games, not only Carabao Cup games, Europa League, he's got to play them all. Because without Christian Eriksen, we're not making chances and we're not doing forward passes. So when it comes to that for Manchester United, again, I think that was a big eye-opening experience for us this evening, is that not only the players that came in didn't really play very well, but also the players that, when they came off the pitch, you see the absence. You don't know what you've got until you no longer have it, sort of situation. And I think that was the case for Christian Eriksen tonight. So bitterly disappointing. Did we deserve to lose? I don't know. I think we definitely didn't deserve to win. We didn't do enough to win, clearly. I thought it was a tight game, but yeah, the Real Sociedad side didn't play that badly, honestly. Didn't play badly, played some good stuff. Especially in the second half, I thought they were way more on top. And back to the drawing board, seemingly, for Erik ten Hag. But again, a long season ahead and a long Europa League campaign ahead, hopefully. And I think Erik ten Hag would have learned a lot. So fingers crossed for a victory next time out in the Europa League.